bottom out, two bottom out.
One more bottom out.
Nice.
There's one more coming in.
Oh my god, one more top out.
Oh my god, give me that.
No chance. On time. Stay down.
For the new one, but if you're GCU, you essentially just have to try and hold on to this, but Omega is tearing them apart. Play by play, kill by kill. Omega will find a 5 spree now.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy, Mr.kiddragon, back with episode 3 of the Gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? Folded arms, yeah. Reflection. Throwback jersey, you already know. I'm here with my boy Omega. You know what I'm saying? We out here. Uh, we're just gonna get this interview done, bro. Introduce yourself, my guy.
Yep, my name's
What?
Omega. Former Call of Duty player, now retired because I'm an old man, even though I'm somehow younger than Will still. But yeah, graduated college, so now I'm moving on to other things.
All right, that's good. That's good. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You know what I'm saying? You already know how the Gauntlet goes. You know what I'm saying? I already have
Yeah,
2
I
episodes
do.
released, and so we're just gonna go through the questions. And we're just gonna run right through it. All right.
Sounds
So
good.
GamerTag's Omega, right? How
Yep.
did you come up with that name?
Okay,
And when did
that's
you
a
start
good question.
competing?
Yeah. So the Omega tag, I used to go buy a bunch of different stuff. I used to go buy, let's see, Slash 'em Up was like my first online one, and then like Zeke, and I would buy just a bunch of different ones. And then Omega came actually from Kenny Omega, who's this that ties into my shirt. He wrestled in Japan and now he's in America, but he
Whoa.
plays a ton of video games and stuff, and so and the name sounded cool. Like I was looking for a new name coming
Yeah.
into Modern Warfare. And I was like, Omega, that sounds pretty good. And, it's basically like a final boss kind of, that's the actual meaning
Yeah,
of the
Alpha
word.
Omega. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the actual meaning of the word. So I'm like, okay, and it kind of rolls off the tongue. If I ever got to the point where it would fit in any org, I'd be like, that sounds cool if you put like an org in front of it.
Yeah.
So I just thought it sounded good. And of course, he's an inspiration in some ways. So I was like, okay, yeah, that'll work. But yeah, started competing. Let's see, my first time playing really like S&D or anything was AW with like a bunch of friends from high school that were just like, hey, we need a fourth. I know you play
Yeah.
Call of Duty. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll play
I'm
some
dead.
fourths of GBs. Okay, yeah. And I started playing just casual like free ladder stuff in AW and watching competitive, like hardcore watching competitive.
Yeah.
And then played wagers in BO3. And then I was like, I was competing in baseball, then kind of stopped going into college, and so I was like, kind of need to keep that competition going. So I was like,
Damn.
yeah, let me try out this variant, starting in IW, and let's see what happens. So yeah,
Yeah.
just kept started playing variant in IW, then played IW, World War II, which World War II was a pretty good year for me, and then
Damn.
BO4 kind of sucked just because I couldn't go to the first event. And like your whole year was based off the first event, and I like wanted to go to Vegas, and I was trying to find a team for it, and just couldn't.
Yeah,
And I was
that's
like,
basically
that
chalked.
you're chalked. Like that was such a bad year for like if you didn't go to the first event, you were screwed.
Yeah. That's how
So
I feel like every year's gonna go now. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the format's even going to look like, coming up. And then MW tried to find some teams for some lands, and of course, the whole season fell apart.
yeah,
I was going
COVID-19.
to go I was going to try and play the Dallas one, but that of course didn't work out. And then of course found College COD, found you guys, and played for the College COD season this year.
That was pretty lit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a blast, dude. I had a really fun time.
Yeah, I've never actually scrimmed like that, like set schedule and everything. That was pretty lit.
Yeah, I was in y'all's asses every day.
Dude, oh my god, dude, and it was like killing me, bro, because like there were some times where it's like we just kept doing the same thing over and over again, and you just kept saying, "Bruh, A to B." It's
Like it's right there. Like literally, all you do is just go this direction. You're like, oh,
yeah,
left. It's like, okay.
yeah, that's really bad. All right, I'm gonna ask you this question. You've been competing, you know what I'm saying, just to go into the flow of the conversation. You've been competing for a couple years, right? And then
Yep.
obviously you ended it. But during that time, bro, what was your favorite event you would say, like online or LAN, or even both?
Yeah. Yeah, online would definitely be College COD. The other things I played online were like, wagers, it's a couple tournaments, the like weekend stuff, like it's not that
Yeah.
fun. And then actually I playing like a league and actually having like matches to play, and it's like you're playing for your school against other schools and like getting to
Yep.
meet you guys in person, like that was a blast. And so I mean it was just awesome, especially to end like kind of my competing days, I guess. Doing that was great. Land wise, it was definitely IW in Dallas. So that was 2017, March 2017.
I went to that event. Yes.
Yeah. And it was because my first LAN ever playing. I got picked up literally like the Sunday, like the roster day of roster lock, like that Sunday. Because I was like, just 3 guys needed a teammate. And I'm like, yeah, I live 20 minutes away. Like, I'll go play. You don't need to pay anything. And they're like, okay, yeah. We practiced like twice going into it. Got DFR. But it was fun. I mean, I still literally have pictures from like this, like my first, like we sat down at like the one side station. I have pictures from like, I'm like, yeah, this is what my view was. I put it in
Yeah.
like a school PowerPoint at one point, I think.
That's kind of cool. It's kind of nerdy,
Yeah.
but it's kind of
I mean, it was part of the presentation. Yeah, it was that was a blast, and I got to meet a couple of the pros and uh actually compete on LAN and like be in that environment. But then of course I was there Sunday when EG qualified for Pro League, and I'm literally in the intro video, the
yeah.
league intro video, which is pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
Because I'm standing right behind EG when they clutched. And then I was there all day for the Optic and United 2 best of 5 grand final, which is considered one of the top 3 or 5 best grand finals in Call of Duty history. So I was there live to see it, which was insane.
Bro, hearing that story back on Hex's podcast, I think either Pristini or RC's on the podcast, and they were talking about. Oh no, it was Gunless. It was the Gunless podcast with Hex, and he was talking about how they need to win that tournament because like they were all struggling, and like they were like,
Yeah,
oh
well, they won Atlanta, and then if they won back to back, that would have been like insane.
yeah, that was crazy, bro. Okay, it's going into the flow of it, like I was saying earlier. Next question is gonna be: so who's your favorite pro and why?
Favorite pro? Really since I started watching, because I really started getting into AW, and of course I was like, I was like, oh yeah, Optic. Of course I'm gonna root for Optic because it's so. But I really leaned towards Formal, and it was a name I recognized. From I used to watch competitive Halo like off and on, and it was a name I recognized.
Word.
And I was like, oh, I think I know this guy. But his demeanor was like, he's really chill, really laid back. And I played AR at the time, so I was always trying to get AR tips. So I was like, I always watched his streams. I literally have like tweets from like 5 or 6 years ago where I'd like tweet. I was like, or Snapchat out. I was watching his stream while like eating dinner or something, and I'm like trying to learn shit. And he's playing, Retreat Hardpoint or something.
Yeah.
I was always watching his stream, and I still do to this day. That's just who I kind of go towards.
Yeah, you kind of grew
and
into it.
Yeah, and there's been a few times where I don't know if it's on purpose or like my voice is whatever, where like people that haven't seen my face or anything, they're like, "Dude, you sound like Formal." Like when I call out, and it's been like more than just like one person. So I don't know what it is, but
Been watching way too much.
I don't hear it, of course, but
Yeah.
people are like, "You sound just like Formal." I'm like, okay, because I look like Krim, but like I had a former teammate. I met Krim, and like one of my old teammates was like, "Dude, you have to meet him. You look just like him." And I didn't have the beard or anything. I had like more of a baby face. And
Yeah.
I walked up to him. I'm like, "Yeah, dude. People they say I'm your twin." And he's like, "Yeah, I can see it." And he took a picture with me and left. And I was like, "Okay."
Actually, I can now I can kind of see it now as you mention it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But imagine me with like no beard, which of course Krim has a beard now, so it's like. But this was back, IW when Krim didn't have a beard. He was just an early Optic. But yeah, so Formal's definitely my favorite pro. I always watch his streams for basically everything, and I love his personality. And of course, he's kind of a dick. And I missed all this.
I like it.
I missed all the sketching stuff. Like, of course, he was a huge sketch in Ghosts, but I missed all that because I didn't watch in Ghosts.
I'm dead. He said, "Good personality, but he's a dick."
I mean, he is. He's kind of he can be a dick, but like most of the time, he's pretty chill.
Yeah. No, I respect that. I respect that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like this question, you already knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure you know the answer to it. But who do you feel is your antagonist and why?
Yep. So during my competing days, early on there was like I didn't know anybody, so I was like, I don't care. Like I didn't recognize any names. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
But World War II came around. This is like late spring, early summer World War II. I just got back in the game, trying to find a team. Found this team, and like in a month we got like org that was going to fly us out or help us with Anaheim stuff. They're going to like, hey, if you guys do well at Anaheim, you're going to get salary going into Black Ops 4. Like you're going to play for our org. And I'm like, okay, cool. And the team had my boy Majestic, who was awesome. So shout out to Majestic, because this is the only person I feel bad for in this situation, because he didn't deserve this. It was Jinx, who was a dick, and we replaced him with Raven, who was just this little kid that didn't know any better, so he was fine. And then Nate Fiasco, who most people probably, especially if you're watching Will from Will's perspective, he plays on UTD's team. But we were both just like random AMs at the time, and we found out that we lived 30 minutes away from each other or whatever. And this fucking kid would not stop screaming at me during scrims. Legitimately, like probably for the first 2 weeks, everything was cool. Especially when we were teaming with Jinx, and Jinx was like the big time rager, and me and Nate would just be like, "Yo, dude, what the fuck? Like, we're playing fine. Like, we can just fix this."
I'm dead.
Of course, Jinx was like, "Dude, we're gonna. This is so fucking stupid." And then we kicked him. Like, all three of us voted to kick him off because it's like, dude, we're not dealing with this.
Yeah.
And then after that, we got Raven. I literally roll swapped from a flex, which I was pretty good at playing flex, to playing main sub, and that was my first ever time playing main sub.
The hell?
Because he couldn't not play with an AR. He couldn't do anything else. And so he had to play AR. So it's like, okay, whatever. And he literally would blame everybody on the team except himself for every single loss of a scrim. Even if we lost a map by like 30 points, he'd be so pissed. I think he's a little bit better now just because he's also trash. If you go watch UTD scrims, like he's literally just bottom bragging every time. But
okay.
He literally would just blame everybody but himself. And then he would be like, and then if you called him out on something, he'd be like, "No, dude, that was the right play. Like, you just played that wrong." And it was bad. And literally leading up to like the week before Anaheim, it was every single map was, if we lost it, like if we won, he was fine. He didn't say anything. He's like, "Nice, good job."
Yeah.
He would still be bottom fragging. He wouldn't even care. He's just like, "Nice, good job." And then if we lost, he'd be in your fucking ass and it was mostly me. Like, even Majestic was like, "Dude, you gotta calm down. Like, it's not that serious." We even beat like Rush Gaming at the time. Like the first
had like
night we got
Proofy,
together.
right?
No. This was the Japanese team.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what team you're talking about.
They won like the Japanese national championship to qualify for Anaheim.
Yep.
And they had just come overseas, and this was our first night as a new 4. We played like a pro point against them, and like I half carried that pro point, especially the CTF. Like I clutched up big time in the and like we were like, okay, we got some potential. We're beating Rush out here. Like they're pretty decent. I think at the time, honestly, they were getting fucking smoked, and like obviously they placed like top 128 at Anaheim, or like top 96, so they were not good. But like at the time, they had this hype. Like
they're recognized.
They're the number one Japanese team, and they've been flown over to play in at Anaheim, and we beat them, and it's like, okay, we got some. And then literally a week and a half later, it's just constant raging. And like the day before roster lock, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I had booked a flight, I booked hotel, like I was dropping $1,000 if not more, and I was just like, I'm out. I'm not losing this money to go yelled at and double first rounded. Like it's just not gonna happen. And so Majestic, I never messaged him back. Like he has no clue this is me. Because of course I've changed it. I literally deleted that Twitter because I was done with gaming at the time.
And what was your previous at? I mean, just for beef purposes.
What?
What was your previous gamer tag for beef purposes?
Oh, Zeke. Yeah, it was MVP Zeke was my previous actual like in-game name on World War II.
I'm about to get tweets up the ass after this. Let's go.
It's fine.
Let's go. I'm down for it, bro.
I don't give a fuck.
Facts.
It's all a bunch of fucking random COD amps that aren't going to do anything anyway. I'm getting out while I can.
Respect.
Yeah, so I feel bad, really bad for Majestic because public apology to Majestic because like he literally didn't deserve it. He was like trying his best to keep everything in line. He was the second best player on that team. I can't blame him for any of that. And he tried his best, but I wasn't having it. Then I had forgot really about it for like a year because of course I didn't really play through Black Ops 4, and then turn around to MW, we get the college COD. That first tryout night, which you guys had no clue who I was. Like I was just this random that had signed up through the full sign up sheet. And you're like, yeah, hop on, play. So I'm like, okay. And we're like, yeah, we'll scrim UTD. I'm like, okay. I didn't even think anything of it. And sure enough, Fiasco joins that lobby. I went, this fucking bitch. And I was like, immediately, you guys are like, yo, what is going on? And I'm like, this motherfucker. I'm like, I'm gunning his shit every time.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't even think we were trying out. I think it was me and Bones, I think. So our team was, and of course, I was like, I knew how to play, and like, I think maybe one other person, but of course we learned over the season, but it was like really rough.
Yeah, it
at
was.
the start. And this is like December. And so I think we ended up losing most of those scrim maps, but I was just beaming him. I was like shooting his body, like I did not care. And y'all had no clue. And of course, over the season, I told y'all bits and pieces of this story, but this is probably the first time hearing like the actual full details of what happened. So yeah, that's my adversary. Of course, I'm done now, so it doesn't matter. So no hard feelings, but definitely hard feelings at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, fuck this dude. I'm gonna beam his shit. Like if you went back and watched our like UTD match that I streamed, which you can't anymore because of Twitch.
Yeah.
I was just yelling at him the whole time. Like it was just rough. But now it's like, yeah, whatever. He'll still be playing, and that's that.
All right. So next question, you know what I'm saying? I understand you're done with competing, but hypothetical. Round 11, COD champs. 1v1, bro. Which previous teammate are you picking to clutch up?
Yep. This one's pretty obvious. I think it's obvious for you. I'm definitely picking my boy Natural. Shout out Tyler. That boy is something else.
Yeah, he is pretty nasty.
He's got the talent. I think honestly, he just needs, if he can grind. I don't know if he wants to though. That's the only thing, is if he could grind respawn, I think he could make it. He's 2 years younger than me. He's got time. He obviously knows it. Like he plays with like Omnibal and shit. Like who used to be huge in respawn. I mean, that's like his boy. Like they got connects. He plays with Groovy, who's now like just turned 18 and is already playing with like top AMs.
Dude, I saw Groovy playing with, I forgot who it was, but he was like a couple of AMs, and I was like, damn, bro, Groovy's playing with those people.
Yeah, and that's like one of Tyler's boys. Like that's who he plays S&D with. So it's like if he committed himself to playing respawn, and like grinding out early, like the pro points and grinding out those tourneys early, I think he would have a really good shot.
He'd probably be making a bag here in like not even a year. Not even a year.
He has the S&D knowledge and instincts, and he's good in respawn. It's just the actual like, and he knows
getting
like,
on
his
to play.
instincts are good. It's just like the repetitions, because a lot of times he doesn't want, like when we had him during the season, he didn't want to run the scrimmages because he's like, I'd rather play S&D. And I think if he had like a full like big time ANT team like with Groovy or something, and like they consistently grinded out scrims for practicing respawn and like playing in the weekend tournaments and getting pro points, they would be a top AM team for sure, and he would be a top AM.
Yeah. See, and bro, you think that people don't realize that networking can get you a lot further than just shooting your gun straight, bro, and people just don't get that.
Yeah, that's part of my problem, is I never knew anybody. I always feel like I'm like, if I got in front of the right people and like, because I would perform well and I know what to do. Like my game sense that was always my like strength, is knowing like what play to make. Like I would make it decent, which is what happened in World War II. I literally came back and got connected with the right people. Like one random pro point with Majestic and like beamed and like knew what to do, and he remembered me. And like 2 weeks later, he's like, "Yo, you looking for a team?" And then boom, we ended up getting like, yeah, we're gonna get this org, blah blah blah, which ended up being an org at the LCQ. They for the org for Naga and it was Naga Brack, and Fellow or something, or BL Fire. It was like these top AMs at the time. Definitely, I think it was Naga, BL Fire, then like 2 other guys. Oh no, Naga, BL Fire, Gorgo Knight, and then one more. I don't know if it was Brack or someone else. But like the team was nasty, but like that's the org I was gonna play for.
Yeah.
So like I in a month, that's all it took me, but I just had to get the right connection.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
So yes, to answer your question, Tyler, 100%. Shout out.
Damn. So let's do some closing arguments here, man. Anything you want to say to anyone who's going to be watching this video in the future? Just say what you got to say. Like if it's like a quote, or maybe it's like some knowledge, drop some knowledge, like just straight on the fucking video.
I'm worried for the COD scene.
Yeah.
It's the both scenes are in a tough spot. Of course, you have a publisher, you have developers that are not interested in making a competitive game right now, which of course is Infinity Ward. Treyarch's
Yep.
a little different; they'll cater to the competitive side, but Infinity Ward won't. And then Activision on top of that are going to support competitive. Like, of course, they have this $25 million buy-in league, and they're saying they're doing all this big stuff for franchising, but like when you look at these other leagues around the world for esports, it's like Call of Duty doesn't do anything close to that. But it's
Facts.
partially the game, which I don't think you can really fix. I mean, it is a casual game that people have turned competitive, as opposed to a competitive game that people can play casually, which is just innately a Call of Duty problem. Which I don't know how you fix that. So I think from the ground up, it's just not made for competitive. But I love the scene. Of course, I think all these guys need to be respected, especially someone like Crimsix and Karma, who are some of the greatest esports players of all time, and they won't get the proper respect just because they play on console.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially Crims won like 30-something tournaments, has the most tourney wins in Call of Duty history, and he won't go down in the same sentence as like
Faker.
big time.
Or,
Yeah, okay, well that's Faker's a different story, but yeah, I would agree. Like that kind of conversation as like some of the greatest esports athletes of all time, like he won't be put there because he plays on console. Same thing with Ogre 2. Like Ogre 2, like no one outside of Halo and the COD scene really know who Ogre 2 is, and Ogre 2 is just such a legend.
Yeah, him and Ogre 1 that was winning, that won like 40 lands back to back or something like that.
Yeah, well, Ogre 2 had the record before Krim broke it.
Yeah.
Of most like LAN console wins, basically. It was like 31 or something. Or no. He still has the record. I forgot. Krim is chasing Ogre 2 now. Krim has the most Call of Duty ones, and Ogre 2 has like 40 something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but outside of Halo and COD, like no one knows who Ogre 2 is, which is insane.
Facts.
I just don't know how you go about fixing it, because they kind of doomed themselves from the start by having all the franchise leagues. You can't use your own name. Like you had to make all new brands, which is the same problems that Overwatch runs into with from the bat. These teams that bought these huge $1 million spots couldn't use their own branding. Like Envy, Optic at the time, Immortals had one. Like these teams that already have these huge brands, they can't use them. They have to make up new ones.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, dude. But
I mean, that's how they wanted to do it. And of course, it was a brand new game, and they had a brand new system. Okay, sure, that works. You have a brand new game, and like you have these teams now that are, completely independent from their like parent companies. It's different when you have Call of Duty, which has been an esport for 10 years at this point. And all of a sudden, one year you're just like, yeah, scratch that. You can't use any of your name. Of course, FaZe got around it somehow.
Atlanta FaZe.
Even then they can't use the FaZe logo. They got to use a different one.
Yeah.
But other than that, like they all have to make new ones. Like Chicago Huntsman can't use anything NRG related. The Empire can't use anything Envy related. Like so it's tough. I don't know how you go about fixing it. So I worry a lot about the COD scene and the health of it, because if you get another bad game on top of no publisher support, because I think dev support's not going to be a problem next game with Treyarch actually being able to listen. And I think they're focusing heavily on multiplayer this time, as opposed to making like another BR.
Yeah.
That I think dev-wise you'll be okay, but publisher-wise, Activision they have the final say as to who to support and how to support it. And they're not getting like these big time names in the scene to meet up and be like, okay, what do you guys want? What do you guys need from us to support this? They don't care. Like they're like, no, we're gonna keep grabbing our millions and millions of dollars that we make from the casual players.
They make so much.
Just figure it the fuck out.
So much,
like,
bro.
That's the thing. That's the innate problem with the game, is that it's a casual game that people have to mold competitive out of.
Yeah.
So, and you have this huge rift in the player base. Like you have competitive and casual are so different that Treyarch tried to bridge it in Black Ops 4 with making everything 5v5 and making the game modes that you play casually the same game modes you play competitive, and then that completely fell out the door in MW, because no one gives a shit. Like you gotta ban so much shit, like GA so much, which that's a big thing is GAs, but you wouldn't have GAs if the league actually gave a shit and knew what to ban.
Oh, big facts.
So that's where a huge rift comes in as well. So I don't know how you go about fixing it. I don't know if you can. I just since it's a console game, it'll never get the same respect as even something that's brand new, like a Valorant, which is something I frequent, and I'm trying to get into more. It's like the game out of the box in beta was made to be a 10 times more competitive game than Call of Duty ever has been, even in its glory days of Black Ops 2. You know,
Yeah.
when the heyday of competitive, like Valorant's a 10 times more competitive game from the box. Like you have the 128 tick server, you have all this dev support, you have like everything made to have a like just a glorious esports scene, which you have already huge orgs like TSM, you have T1, you have Cloud9 looking or has a team, you know like 100 Thieves now, Hiko signed with 100 Thieves.
And they don't have to
Uh,
change their names or anything.
yeah, like they get their branding, and these are teams that have been in the world's biggest esports of Dota and League of Legends and Counter Strike and all this shit. Like they know what's gonna work, and the fact that early on they're like, "Yep, we know what Riot does for the competitive esports scene. We're gonna support this. Like we're gonna get teams in this." Especially someone like Nadeshot, who was so hesitant about getting into Call of Duty League, and then literally beta comes around for Valorant. He's like, "Yeah," and the game releases in less than a week later. He's like,
Picked
"Yeah,
up Pico.
I'm already signing a team." Like, yeah, of course I am. It's like
1000%.
he understands what these devs are about and who's gonna actually bring
Like care.
esports forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Activision's just not one of them.
Yep. And I think that ultimately is going to dissolve the scene, bro. Like it's not going to dissolve the scene, but it's going to be like I know this is going to sound crazy because like I've like I've been in the esports and I've been watching and playing for like so long, right? That I kind of see like the patterns.
Mhm.
So like usually when people are tired of an esport or tired of like non-developer support, they're dead ass like there's going to be a new game that rolls around that's going to be similar to
Mhm.
COD, but the developer support is going to be 1,000% times better, right? And
Yeah.
it's just going to dissolve the esports scene for COD. I know it's going to happen. That's exactly what Valorant is doing to CS:GO and Overwatch.
Yeah,
It's kind of doing it.
it'll put a huge hole in Overwatch because
Yeah,
I think the abilities are going to be easier to use. It's not the game's going to be a little slower, so it's not as Twitch based, so people will
yeah,
like that more. There's this whole other system to it, and then you're going to have Riot's support as opposed to Blizzard's, which of
yeah,
course Blizzard's now under that Activision branch, which we've seen what the fuck they're doing.
yeah.
So like this will definitely CS I think is safe. CS has been an esport for 20 something
No,
years
yeah.
now at this
I
point.
mean, I get
Like
that, but I'm just
it's
saying
fine.
like their viewership isn't as great as it used to be. But
Yeah, but they set a new record for concurrent players like 2 months ago. They had like
did they?
1.4 active players, 1.4 million active players, which is the highest in
Oh,
CS:GO history, and that was 8 years after release.
hmm.
The game's doing just fine.
Yeah,
But what's killing it right now, of course, is all the pandemic stuff with not being able to have live events.
yeah,
Having in-person lands, but they're doing the best they can, and the streams are still enjoyable. I watch them all the time for their events and stuff. But yeah, Overwatch I could see taking a big hit, especially now that they did like I saw something they did like the analytics of the Call of Duty League on YouTube and the Overwatch League on YouTube, like their
yeah,
views. And the Call of Duty League actually had more views on YouTube than it did on Twitch last year,
yeah.
like on average. And it's like, okay, so that was a good decision. Overwatch like tanked compared to it being on Twitch last year.
That's tough.
And it's so I don't know if that was partially because it's on YouTube only, or if it's but because Call of Duty succeeded. But that also ties into the Call of Duty scene was birthed on YouTube.
Yeah,
Between montages and trick shots and commentary videos and gaming, YouTube as a whole came through Call of Duty, and that started on YouTube. So that makes sense. You're bringing a game back to your core audience.
yeah,
Overwatch, I mean, it started on Twitch. It's that was the thing. So then making it go to YouTube just completely tanked the viewers. I think the game's getting worse too, which I don't know because I don't play the game, but
yeah. I
that's
don't
what
play
I've
the game
heard.
either.
That's what I've heard from people that actually do play the game. They're like, the game just sucks right now, and
Yeah.
Blizzard's not listening, which because it's Activision. They don't give
Nah,
a fuck anymore.
facts.
They just want your money.
No, 1,000%.
Yeah, so that's where I think the difference comes in. So we'll see. I think Valorant's in a great spot, especially to start, and that's the game I've been streaming as much as I can lately. I'll probably even stream tonight, because I have a ton of fun with the game. It's brand new. I shred on it. I'm just dominating basically now. Okay, I'm really just hopeful for ranked because I want to immediately hop into ranked and see how high I can get.
Yeah,
Because I feel like I have a pretty good chance to be decent at the game, and even though it's a PC game, I've played PC for a few years now, and was pretty good at CS, and so the mechanics come easy to come natural. But there's a whole lot more into it that you have to be aware of. That like learning curve is fun for me.
Yeah.
compared to something like COD, which is just so repetitive. And unless you're playing MW, and then you don't know what the fuck's going on, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Because you're like, they literally just did a spawn update, and you're like, a secret spawn update that made the spawns worse, which I don't know how you could make them worse because they're so bad.
Yeah, they are. They really are. They're literally god awful.
Yeah,
That's funny.
and they're somehow worse, which I thank God I'm done playing that shit because it's like I got out
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yeah, you did, bro. It's terrible, dude. I maxed out, and they withheld the season 4 battle pass, so it's just not looking
Yeah.
good, bro.
Yeah, if
But
anyone that plays the game even casually is pissed right now, much less
yeah.
competitive.
Hey, but thanks for coming on the show, Omega.
Absolutely.
It was nice talking to you, brother. I think we've gone around 20 minutes, but that is fine. I'll edit it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Hey man, we got some good conversations. That's all it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Follow my Twitch, Omega Shreds.
I got
Twitter's
you.
Omega Shreds.
I'll link it all in the description. Hell yeah, I got
Yes,
you,
sir.
brother.
Sounds
But this has been episode 3 of the Gauntlet, and that's it, brother. See you for our next guest, which I haven't decided yet, but we'll soon, right? All right. This has been the Gauntlet episode 3. And I'm out. Peace.